welcome back to another video. It's been quite a while since I've made a video. I think it's been probably around 4 weeks, to be honest. Also sorry the audio sounds a bit muffled at the moment because I'm quite far away from the mic, but if I come any closer it's just sun so I have to be back here. It's been quite a while since I made a video because I have been frantically working away to get all my work done for the submission deadline, and I submitted all my work yesterday. In 4 weeks time there's a degree show. You get to show off all the work you've made basically, and there's a lot I want to do for it because although I kind of finished it, the project I was working on for the submission, there's still so much more I want to do for it, and I was kind of hoping that after I submitted I would feel like a big weight off of my shoulders, but didn't really feel that just because there's still so much I want to do for the degree show. The project that I've been working on, if you've been following me for the past few months and seeing what I get up to on Instagram, you'll know what all this is. It's my DIY bug hotel paper craft kit. It's a model that I've made. It comes flat pack on these sheets, but you can cut it out and stick it together to make your own paper 3D kind of bug hotel doll's house. It's aimed at children aged kind of 9+ is the age range I'm going for, but I feel like anyone can enjoy it pretty much. That's why I say 9+ because I feel like it can be enjoyed by anyone. What you saw me doing in the last video I made was putting together these sheets. So there's 14 sheets in total, which all have all the pieces to the model on. I'll pop a better flick through of them up right now. So these have all the pieces for the model on. Each piece is numbered, and that relates to what is said inside the instruction manual, so you can find where all the pieces are. Also the sheets go in order, so like the order that you make it is the order that they are on the sheets. There was also a few awkward gaps on the sheets which needed filling, so what I decided to do with that space was to make extra art prints. So as well as having the finished model, you also get extra art prints along the way. So there's 7 art prints which you get to cut out. Some of them are little awkward shapes just because of the gaps that I had to fill, but I think they look quite cute. Then I moved on to making the instructions. Making the instructions was a very big job. Took me about 2.5 weeks in total because what I had to do was I printed off the whole model and then I made the whole model again, taking pictures of all the steps, and then I had to arrange all those pictures in the right order, add writing, arrange it all nicely in a book, have a few like extra like decorative pages, do a nice little front cover. I'll do a flick through right now on screen of the instruction booklet. This was just, it was just a lot of faffing, a lot of work, and I was quite quiet on Instagram for a few weeks because of it, just because it's not really like exciting work to share either. It's just moving things around in Photoshop, so it's not like I had anything to really post. I have around 5 of them I think, because I ended up printing off quite a few different versions, all with very slightly different colour backgrounds. Then, as of a few days ago, I made some packaging. Just put it all inside a nice little plastic sleeve. This packaging is just temporary. I made this packaging purely for the submission deadline, just because I wanted it to look kind of more like a finished product for the submission. I want to make nicer packaging because ideally I don't want to use plastic. I just want it to feel really nice and professional, and I don't really feel like a plastic sleeve screams professional. I'm going to get working on the packaging in this video. It's probably going to take me a week. I need to do sketches. I've started doing a few sketches. I'll pop them up on screen right now. At the moment the idea is very blurry and hazy and I need to figure it out properly, so that's what I'm going to do probably tonight, this evening, because it's getting quite late in the day now. I need to do like colour mocks, and then I'll probably spend quite a few days just actually making the art for it. So there's lots to be doing in this video. So here I am just doing some sketches. I did some smaller sketches of a few ideas, but because I could kind of picture it so clearly in my head already, I just decided to go in and do a bigger sketch of it, kind of like the final sketch. I knew I wanted it to have twisty vines around the outside, and because I'd made quite a few pieces, well, I've made a lot of art for this project, I wanted it to match all the art that I've already made, so like the whole model is filled with these twisty vines. I've been doing them a lot for this project, so it made sense to just put them around the outside of the packaging as well to tie everything together. Anyway, I decided to just go for a hand holding a pair of scissors on the front. I was originally going to do a picture of the model on the front, but because the model is so busy and there's so many components to it, I decided I'm going to put that on the back of the packaging, and I'm hoping like the front of the packaging just gives you a little glimpse of what the project is about, or what the kit is about. You can see all the insects, so you see the hand and the scissors, so you know that it's like a DIY kit, and then hopefully the front cover draws you in enough to pick it up and turn it around to see the model. It's a simple way to show that it's a DIY craft kit without like shoving it in your face, is my thinking. Anyway, like I was saying before, I've basically finished uni at this point. In case anyone is new here, I do illustration and I'm my third year, and as of last week I finished. There's still the degree show stuff, but technically I've submitted, so I've finished now, which is exciting but also scary because it means that I've kind of got to go out there and try and be an illustrator now. But I'll probably do another video in the future talking about like my plans. I'm also going to do a video going through all the work I made this year, like I do every year, just talking through the work I've made. And then I was also thinking of doing a video kind of summing up the whole 3 years and going through the work I've made across the 3 years and how I've improved and how my style has changed, the highs, the lows across these 3 years. That could be a fun video. It's now the following day, it's Tuesday, and I've been doing a little bit more sketching. So you saw me doing this page last night, and I did the sketch for the front of the packaging, and then I've been working on sketches for the back of the packaging. I'm thinking something along the lines of this. So obviously I want it to have a picture of the model, and it'll have all the sheets, and then show them maybe the model folded up as well because it closes. This is the idea that I'm going with. So this is the front cover, and then it'll have a little spine and a back cover, and then I've got little bits of ribbon on the side here because my plan is I'd like it to close like this so it can tie together with the ribbon. So that's the front of the packaging, and then when you open it up it will look like this. This is a very rough quick sketch, but it gets the idea across. So on the inside it will look like a folder, it will have multiple pockets. I'm thinking a big pocket for the sheets, and there'll be extra things that come with it like posters I'd like to make, and then a smaller pocket maybe for the instruction manual, and then also whilst you're making the model you'll have lots of like extra bits floating around. So I thought having pockets will be a nice way to store the extra bits of paper that you've cut out whilst you're making it, just to keep things organised. I have done a little quick sketch here of sticker sheets. I'd love to do sticker sheets with it as well. I've made these really cute tiny little insects, and I just think they are screaming to be put onto a sticker sheet. Probably not going to get around to it for the deadline for the degree show, but it's something that I'd like to do in the future. So that's what I've been doing today. I'm going to move on now to doing the colour mocks for this and this. So that's going to be quite a lot of just screen recording business. Hopefully that's not too boring, but I'm going to do some colour mocks on Photoshop, so that'll be up next. I need to paint some more paper for the collage I'm going to do for this to do the cover you just saw me doing. I've painted although my camera might be a bit too close here, but that's the wrong book. I've painted, well, this was my first attempt and it's not that great, so I tried again and I did this, which I think is better, but I'm not really sure. You can never really tell until you start collaging into it. So this is the background, obviously, for the piece you just saw me doing on the digital colour mock-up thing. I always doubt the background and then I start collaging on top of it and I'm like, you know what, actually that background was pretty good. Even though I'm doubting this now, I'm hoping that once I start collaging on top of it, it will be fine. So I painted that and now I need to paint more bits of paper because, believe it or not, I've actually ran out of, well, I've not ran out, I've still got quite a few sheets left, but I've almost ran out of green sheets for collaging because I did this really big collage a while ago. I went into a primary school and I taught a class where we all did collaging together and I used a lot of green in that little project that we did. I'll pop a picture of it up on screen, why not? There's loads of green grass and leaves on it and I basically used up all my green sheets for that, so I need to paint some more. I don't usually talk and make art at the same time and film it. I haven't done this in ages. We'll see how I go. Usually I just forget to talk, but I mean, this is just splattering bits of paint on paper, so it's not like it's hard. Well, this reminds me actually, I made a collaging video a while ago where I was talking through like my collage process, and as of like the past few months that video has been doing like really well. If anyone here is new and they found me because of that video and they subscribed because of it, like I gained quite a few subscribers because of that video, which is cool. If anyone like wants to know how I collage and how I like paint my bits of paper, I go into a lot more detail in that video about what I do for it. I mean, but it's basically just turn your brain off and smush some paint into a piece of paper, really. My motivation today, and well, to be honest, this entire video has been at an all-time low. Before I started doing this painting of the paper, I was just lying on my floor for about 15 minutes trying to build up the motivation to just smush some paint into a piece of paper. I guess just because I've been working so frantically over the past, well, few months, kind of non-stop, not really having many breaks. It's catching up to me, and I just want this project to be over. I mean, I could just like finish it. I don't have to do this packaging. This is just, I really want to do this packaging. I could have submitted the work and then just finished, and like that could have been what I showed for the degree show, but I just want it to have the packaging for the degree show. I'm going to push through and just work for another week or so on this project, although no, it'll probably be working for another 2 to 3 weeks on this project and then it'll be done, because I want to make the packaging, I want to make extra posters, I want to make felted insects. Actually quite looking forward to making the felted insects. And that'll be a nice break from collaging. I need a break from collaging. I want to get back into like my watercolours and my gouache and just doing a nice painting. And I love collage, don't get me wrong, but I just need to do some different art for a while. I have this painting in my mind, which I really want to do, and I want to turn it into a print, hopefully, if it turns out like how I can picture it. And it's going to be like it's going to be like a mouse parade, and all these mice carrying different flowers, and they're going to be like parading through the forest, and I want to do a nice like gouache painting of that idea. So that's probably going to be like the first big project that I take on after I do my book hotel. And then speaking of prints, I want to do another shop update after I do my book hotel. So after the degree show, I'm going to take it chill, to be honest, for a week or so, and then get into the swing of shop updates, because I really want to update my shop. I'm really low on prints, so that's on the cards. Right, I'm going to paint some more paper for a while and then I'll show you all the bits that I've done, but basically I'm just going to repeat that process another 5 times with different shades of green. It's now the following day. It's Thursday? Yeah, it's Thursday. This is what I managed to get done yesterday. I was feeling very, very slow and sluggish yesterday. I'm hoping to get a lot more done today because I'm feeling a lot more motivated. So I need to carry on the twisty vines around the outside and then get started on the title, the hand, the insects. But I'm going to do them all separately and not stick them down. That way I have freedom on Photoshop to place them like exactly how I want them and move things around slightly. So I'm going to do them on a separate sheet. This piece was a real struggle. Every second doing this piece I was doubting it. I was just having mega doubts whilst doing this piece, and sometimes it's just like that. Some art rolls off the page, not easy, but it just, everything seems to just slide into place. But this was one of those pieces where I was doubting it every single step of the way, and that slowed me down a lot because I just was second guessing myself so much. It's a combination of there being so much pressure on this piece because it's like the front cover of the project that I've been working months and months every day on. This is the cover for it, so this needs to be good because it needs to reflect like the quality of the work of what's inside. So I was putting so much pressure on it because of that, and also the fact that I hadn't made art in so long because I was working on my instruction manual and just so much like Photoshop, boring stuff, printing stuff out, all that boring stuff, because I was working on that for so many weeks. I think I didn't really make any new art for like 2.5 weeks. Whenever I don't make art for a while and I go back into it, as silly as this sounds, I just think to myself, what if I can't do it anymore? What if I've lost all my artistic ability and all the previous times I've made art and it looked good, it was just an accident and my looks ran out and now I can no longer make art? I know that sounds silly, but I literally think that every single time that I haven't made art in a while and I go back to it. So there was a lot of factors making this piece tricky, as also the fact that I'd been working so hard for so long, not really having many breaks. I was just starting to get a little bit very unmotivated, very slow, very, what's the word? Burnt out, maybe a little bit burnt out. So the first day I did this was so slow, I barely got anything done, and because I was going at like a slug's pace. Second day I woke up with a little bit more motivation, but that kind of trickled off towards the end of the day because I was really struggling with the hand that I had to collage. I got it done in the end and I'm actually really happy with the results. It was just a struggle to get there. So I know like when I make these videos they're edited together so like quickly that it just like when you're watching these videos it looks like it must just come so easily to her, but no, that's just the way it's edited. It's edited to look very quick and like, oh, I just threw this together and here it is. Just know that there's days of struggle that goes into it. Not all the time. Sometimes I find art really fun and nice and relaxing, but sometimes it's just not quite like that, and this was one of those times, but it's okay. It's been a few days, however many days later. I think I've been working on this for 3 days because I spent about 1.5 days on the background and the green border, half a day on the hand, and I had a few failed attempts, and then today I've been doing the insects and the title. So that's 3 days that I've been working on this. This hand was a struggle to get here. It is meant to be a bit wonky because it's, out of collage and I want it to look a little bit wonky and pieced together, because at first I tried this, it just looks like a thumbs up because there wasn't enough texture and it was too flat and the position of the hand wasn't right and everything about it was a thumbs down. So I tried again and it took me a while to get to this point. Oh, I also tried to do the banner and I really don't like it. It's too flat, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do the bits of paper that I've got there because I want them to look 3D. Like, if I zoom in, I want it to look like the paper's like peeling up at the edges like this. So I don't know whether to just take a picture of this piece of paper and then edit that on top instead of like trying to collage folds into the paper, just actually fold the paper and then just take a picture of it. That way it looks more 3D. That's my thinking at the moment. Collage the title, collage all the extra bugs that are going on it. I am going to reuse some bugs that I've already done. I'm just going to reuse this one, and I'm going to reuse the ladybirds because I've done so many ladybirds over this project. I'm just going to pull some from art I've already made. So now it's just a case of pulling everything together on Photoshop and hoping that it works. Right, after many hours of editing on Photoshop, I want to show you a little bit of what goes into editing these. I try to keep my Photoshop files somewhat organised, but it doesn't always happen. I started off with little groups here, and then it just all went to pot after a bit. I have my insects on a layer, although these two guys aren't in that layer for some reason. Oh, I've just realised they're the same ant as well. That's going to annoy me. Let me have that guy looking in. Yeah, so I have a separate Photoshop file here, which was for some other things I was doing for this project. So I have like loads of things that I've made just in here ready to go, so I can just like grab this guy and then just add him in and like move things around. So that's what I was doing with the ants and some of the ladybirds as well. I just took from there. So that's the insect layer, and then I have the letters, and the hand took quite a bit of editing because the scan I had, it didn't scan in that great because my scanner doesn't really pick up light colours that well. So this is what the scan looked like, and it's way too pale, so I had to go in and add in what's called a clipping mask, and that allows you to add in colour to something but it stays within the shape of whatever you add it to. I also added some shading. So just little tweaks like that, which don't look like much, but in the grand scheme of things make quite a big difference. This banner was probably the biggest thing to edit. I will show you how I made it. The little rectangle pieces are this picture here. This very grey picture turns, after a lot of tweaking on Photoshop, turns into a nice little banner. That little green square is this. For the big banner, I took a picture of a texture that I had. Not the best picture, but I lightened it, slightly changed the colour in Photoshop, and then I traced the template of this, which I had already drawn, although made it a lot cleaner, and then I could use that to construct my own banner using the textures, kind of like collaging but digitally. There's a lot of layers. There's kind of like a highlight layer. This is a separate piece that's got some shading. That's a separate piece, that's a separate piece, that's a separate piece, that's a separate piece. I just wrote this by hand using my drawing tablet, although I'm not 100% set on it. I might change that font because I think it could look better, but for now I'm calling it a day and I'll just come back to it at a later date. The background I had to change a lot of. There's a lot of like, I went in and darkened the edges, added extra bits of shading, so if I take away the background you can see the mess of all the extra bits of colour that I added in. I'm not entirely sure why there's a big rectangle missing there. That's what happens when you don't keep your Photoshop layers organised. I'm not quite sure what all those layers are doing, but when that's on, it looks fine. I did a lot more things, but I'm not going to bore you with it all because I had to completely redesign some of these twisty vine segments to have a better composition with the insects. I'll show you it a bit nicer now, close up. I did want to get a little bit more done this week. I didn't realise quite how long this piece would take. In my head I thought I could have this done in 2 days, but like I always do, I underestimate how long it takes to make art. My next stage that I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the back cover. That should be simple, although knowing me, it will take longer than I think it will. And my plan is to carry on filming stuff, so hopefully there won't be such a big gap in between videos. Usually in my week of arts I achieve a lot of little things in a video, but this I was kind of just working on the one main thing for the whole video. But hopefully it was interesting to see the process from like going from a thumbnail sketch to the finished thing. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I'll see you soon, hopefully.